All of us want to be happy. And how we pursue happiness is determined by what I call the super theory of life, your own personal super theory of life. And your super theory of life is your sort of big idea about how life works. So if my goal is to be happy, if I do X, Y, and Z, it'll make me happy. So there are three fundamental theories of life. The first one is pleasure. Actually, it's pleasure and the avoidance of pain. So the concept is if I can maximize pleasure and minimize pain, that's the way to be happy. The problem is it doesn't produce happiness because that pursuit in itself doesn't fill the hole that you're really trying to fill in your quest for happiness, which is something that psychologists call high life satisfaction. So if you're in this world where your super theory of life is maximizing pleasure, what you often find yourself is something I call the pain hurricane. And the pain hurricane kind of works like this. The last thing you want if your life is all about pleasure is to feel any pain, pain of any kind. So you don't want to be without anything. You want to feel good all the time. You want relationships to be supportive. You don't want conflict. You absolutely just want nothing but pleasure. So since life doesn't work that way and you have to deal with all kinds of stuff that creates pain, normally what a person involved in the pain hurricane starts to do is to numb themselves, mostly from the thoughts that cause them anxiety. And the typical ways of numbing ourselves is to get really enmeshed with what I call the grid, which is the media industrial complex. And the way the grid works is we're going to produce all this stuff to take your mind off your life. Some of the stuff are movies, television, music. So, for instance, in our cars, I remember I grew up in the 60s and getting a 4-track tape deck was a big deal. And they mounted under the dash and then we could play recorded music. Where we cranked it up and we thought we were cool. Well, now let's fast forward to today. Now we put in, 8,000 watt stereo systems in our car and the car actually vibrates and you can turn it up, but that's not enough. Now we've got to put in DVD screens. And in fact, what we watch on TV all the time are people putting DVD screens in their steering wheel. It's not enough not to be distracted by music. Now you've got to have video and movies and everything totally saturating our minds. Why? To take our mind off what we might be thinking about if the grid was turned off. See, silence is the biggest thing we're afraid of if we're in a pleasure and pain kind of strategy to find happiness. So we don't want any silence. So therefore our TVs are on all the time, 7-8 hours a day, whether we're watching them or not. There's constantly background music, or talk radio is another thing. We don't want to take the time to form our own opinions, so we listen to the opinions of others constantly, all the time. Well, what happens is that this avoidance doesn't quite work well enough because we still feel this there's got to be more to life. So what we try to do was when the numbing effect doesn't work, we go to excitement. So what's exciting? Hey, shopping's exciting. A fresh new kill, something I can take home, something I think I'm going to enjoy, but by the time I get it home, now I have to find a place for it. I don't have any more closet space and so on. And so the thrill of buying something new sort of quickly dissipates. So what other things can I do? Well, I can go to clubs, or I can just saturate myself with anything that I think will be exciting. But our tolerance for excitement grows. It's kind of like being addicted to a drug. We need a bigger fix to keep us excited and engaged.